Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today's video is going to be an interesting topic that I kind of saw brought up on the Shade Room, and I thought that it would be an interesting video to make just because I've been really annoyed actually by this topic and the things that people have said about body standards. So this video is going to be about the Kardashians and body standards and how things have changed, how they evolved, and also how people perceive themselves versus how they perceive the Kardashians and what is toxic about comparing yourself to these people. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be talking about today. But before I do get into it, please go ahead and like this video and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. So yeah, let's just go ahead and get right into the video. So let's just make one thing clear. I am not a Kardashian stan. I call them out when they do good things. I call them out when they do bad things. I'm very objective. I generally like them just because I don't see them doing anything crazy wrong. I've seen other celebrities get away with far worse than what the Kardashians get away with or what the Kardashians are called out for. And yet for some reason people have this extreme hatred for the Kardashians, but don't have much of a hatred for Jeffree Star, who, called black women gorillas. So, I tend to be more forgiving with the Kardashians just because I don't feel like what they do is all that bad. I feel like there are other celebrities who have done far worse that people give passes to all the time. Now, with that being said, it's obvious and clear that the Kardashians' bodies have now been kind of the template for the modern day Instagram model. The modern day Instagram model wants a really small waist, a big butt, a big chest, but small everything else. And honestly, can I knock it? No, they look great. It looks great. Fine. If you want your body to look like that, fine. But I've noticed a lot on social media, especially with people who do not have that body type or do not go out and get surgeries to get that body type, that they have become extremely negative about about the Kardashians' body types and how they've kind of changed society's beauty standards. And really, let's just be honest here. Kim is the one who has that particular body shape that a lot of Instagram models, a lot of just women in general try to copy. So it really boils down to Kim, obviously. But one thing that I've seen people say is that, the Kardashians have changed beauty standards. And let's be honest here, a lot of black women, and I don't want to make this like a fully race thing because quite frankly, it's not. That's not the route that I'm going on. But I've seen a lot of black women talk about this, that, a lot of black women have had kind of, bigger features in certain areas, and people used to kind of look down on that. And there was a time where being stick thin was the most beautiful and the most attractive. And now they feel like Black women should have been the ones to be the representation for these certain body types instead of the Kardashians. However, I'm not going to say I disagree with that sentiment, because I don't disagree with that sentiment. I think that, Black women are just as beautiful as any other woman on the planet. I think that, different body types, different natural body types that God gave you are just as beautiful as any other body type because God made it. That's just how I personally feel. However, I think that is unfair, completely unfair, to blame the Kardashians for society deciding to mold its beauty standards around them. They did not force people to think that they were beautiful. They did not force people to fall in love with their beauty, with their body types. They did not force people to like how they looked. Quite frankly, they did not. That's what society did kind of on its own. Did the Kardashians put themselves out there? Of course, but who isn't going to put themselves out there? The Kardashians did not force these Instagram models to want to emulate how they look. That's not what happened. What happened was people decided to emulate how they looked on their own. And just in general, with a lot of women with nice, curvy bodies or bodies that other people feel are not achievable, they end up to start they end up being really, really negative and almost attacking that person for having something that they cannot achieve or that they feel like they cannot achieve. A lot of women, it's an age-old thing that a woman's body has been criticized and picked apart for centuries, and most of the time by the woman herself because of the societal beauty standards that we have. And now with social media being like the main way that you see a lot of people that you otherwise wouldn't have seen or noticed, a lot of people who are they don't fit the norm of normal society, I guess you could say, because their bodies are so great. And by the way, I'm not going to talk about plastic surgery in this video, or like if I think that the Kardashians got plastic surgery, because quite frankly, I am not their plastic surgeon. I don't know what they got done to their bodies. I don't know if I don't have their medical records or anything like that. So I am not going to state something that I don't know is a fact. And I'm not going to do that. I am going to assume that they haven't, or, I'm just not even going to dive into that because I think that it's very unfair to say that someone got plastic surgery when you don't have any proof of that. You just look at them and you're like, oh, their butt doesn't match their thighs, they have to have plastic surgery. You're not an expert. You don't know. So I'm just going to say that. Anyways, with social media, one thing that I find interesting is that when you're walking down the street and you see someone, you can't really analyze their body and pick it apart and find which parts you want to take and find which parts, you want to emulate. You just kind of see them and think that they're beautiful, and then they walk on their way. However, on social media, when you see someone that you don't know, especially when they have those types of bodies that society, puts on a pedestal and they have a lot of followers, you have like literal still shots of their bodies that you can just analyze and pick apart and say, I need to look like this. And trust me, I've been there many a time where I see a girl on Instagram and I think, wow, I really want to look like that. Like I should do more sit-ups and just all of that kind of stuff. And do I think that it's necessarily negative to compare yourself to another person's body, or like to compare your body to another person's body? I think that it is a very slippery slope. Sometimes people can look at other people's bodies and just be very motivated and go ahead and change the things that they don't like and get more healthy. And I always applaud people who take inspiration and use that for good. However, most of the times that's not what happens. Most of the time it becomes a toxic cycle of people looking at other people's bodies and just hating themselves. And that is 9 times out of 10 what happens, and it sucks. However, can you blame the person that you're looking at for the fact that you hate yourself? No, you can't, because 1, that's irrational. 2, they don't even know that you're looking at their picture. And 3, it's not their fault that you have something that they want. I'm sorry, it's just not. It's not the Kardashians' fault that society has decided that they are the blueprint, that they are the mold, and now. It's not their fault whatsoever. They wanted themselves to look as good as they possibly could. They want to look good, just like everybody else. And people are forgetting that human aspect, that human desire, that they just want to look good too. So if they like their bodies and if they like that body shape and they go for that, and then society builds its standards around that, can we be mad at them? No. Honestly, I'm going to be completely real. If my body could be the standard, I would be so happy, because then I wouldn't have to work out as much. Like, I would be so happy, okay? So I can't knock them. And I've seen a lot of people, especially recently, with a lot of people being quote unquote woke now. They're like, wow, the Kardashians really changed body standards. No, the Kardashians didn't change body standards. You changed body standards by making a big deal about what they look like. That's what happened. And then it's become a hate train. I've seen a lot of hate trains against the Kardashians, some that I think are valid, some that I think are not. The whole body image thing is not, especially because, I know the argument that people are like, well, they have these bodies, but they're not telling us that they got surgeries and they're not disclosing that. First of all, let's be clear here. And this is just my opinion, but this is how I feel. They do not owe you an explanation about how they look. I'm sorry, nobody owes you an explanation. Nobody owes you and needs to sit you down and say, hi, I know that you're idolizing my body, but I need to tell you that I got this done and this done and that done. Nobody needs to do that. Why do you even care about what they look like that much? Why do you even need to emulate what they look like that much to where you're mad at them for not telling you something that they don't need to tell you? They don't need to disclose their private information. They don't need to disclose what they've gotten done. If they end up walking in with like blue eyes, do they need to tell you that they got it done? No, they don't. They don't owe you that favor. I'm sorry. They just don't. And it kind of irks me that people keep thinking that like they owe them something, because they don't owe you anything. It's your fault that you idolize them. It's your fault that you put their bodies on a pedestal. It's your fault that you want to emulate their body so much. And of course, I try to be as empathetic as possible. And I understand that these have become society's beauty standards. But at the same time, you can still think for yourself. If you really think that they got work done, fine. Then stop trying to emulate their bodies. Don't become mad at them because they didn't tell you. Because quite frankly, they don't owe anybody an explanation about how they look. I think what people do now is that they find people to blame when they don't have any confidence. Honestly, when you don't have any confidence, you are going to blame somebody else because you have a flaw. When you don't have confidence, it becomes a flaw because you become jealous. You become just super kind of mad at the world because you don't look a certain way, because you don't have confidence, because, society hasn't, built you up and put you on a pedestal the way that they put the Kardashians on a pedestal. It's a very slippery slope. Quite frankly, I have seen a lot of women blame the Kardashians, blame Instagram models because they have no self-esteem. Is that their problem? No. And let's go even further. They probably have low self-esteem. A lot of these Instagram models probably have low self-esteem. And that in other aspects, you might be a brainiac. And some of these women are like, man, I just do not believe in my mental ability, my mental capability. And then they look at you. It's just like this whole game of comparisons. And you're not blaming yourself for comparing yourself to these people who don't know that you exist. You're blaming them for being the person that you're comparing yourself to. Do you see how idiotic that is? I'm sorry, it's idiotic. It is idiotic to think that you should blame other people for the fact that you can't love yourself. That's on you. You have to work on you at the end of the day. If you don't like your body, change it. Trust me, I know. I've been on a weight loss journey for a while now. If you don't like something about yourself, either change it, or maybe you should realize that maybe you shouldn't not like that part of yourself. People have to start being objective. It's a lot of subjective thinking. It's a lot of, I feel this, so I'm going to lash out in this way. No, we have to be smarter than that. We have to start being objective about, is this person really to blame for the fact that I don't love myself? No, they're not. Therefore, you should stop being so delusional. I'm sorry. It irks me that people continuously, throw all of this hate against people that literally didn't do anything but post pictures on Instagram. They didn't do anything but post pictures on Instagram. And then they became society's body standards, which, quite frankly, if you're going to blame anyone, blame society. But society doesn't have a face. society doesn't necessarily have a name. So it's so easy to just go to the beauty standard themselves, which are the Kardashians, you know. You go to them and then you just point at them and you say, you're the reason why I hate myself. That's really what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a lot of, you're the reason why I don't like myself. And once you realize that you're saying that, then either you keep being delusional or maybe you stop and you think, oh no, I'm the reason why I hate myself. You know, I'm the reason why I look at other women and I instantly start to compare myself, because they didn't compare me. They don't even know me. So why am I so hateful to these people that I don't know, that didn't do anything wrong, but post pictures of their bodies because they're proud of how they look? It's just a lot of, the whole blaming is what gets to me, because they didn't do anything. If anything, you're the person who's doing something. You're the person who's continuously comparing yourself to people who didn't do anything wrong. Maybe you need to love yourself instead of trying to tear people down because they're not on the same level of not having any confidence that you are. Anyways, that is it for this video. Please enjoy this obligatory Tom Holland picture as I close out. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about this because I saw somebody, I think on The Real, talk about it, and I was like, that's just dumb. I'm sorry, it's just dumb. And we need to start thinking about things objectively. A lot of people, you know, they voice their opinions in the most subjective way possible without having any, like, objective critical thinking involved. And I'm not that type of person. All of my friends know this, that I am a very objective, very like realist type person. And when I saw this sentiment being kind of thrown around and then really just said, and I saw people just blaming the Kardashians for the fact that they don't love themselves, I just became really irritated and decided to make a video. So here you go. But thank you so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, please go ahead and give it a big thumbs up. Go ahead and comment down below what you think of what I had to say. And please do subscribe to my channel for more videos like this, more rants about society's body standards or whatever I decide to rant about. But yeah, I hope you guys are all doing well. I hope everything is, you know, lightening up. There's hope. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. Places are opening back up. I'm very happy about that. And yeah, I just thank you so much for being here. Yeah, I will see you in my next video. Bye.